Hi everybody and welcome back to my backyard once again. Today we have a lot of new products from Caddx Walksnail. First of all, we have the goggles L, which are an affordable way into digital. Then this is the Avatar GT kit and it is 2 watts of power. Should go super far. And lastly, this is the GM3 from the GM series. They made gimbals for the cameras that are native support with head tracking. So you don't need to connect it to your radio and then connect a cable here. It's all native, super easy to use. I'm gonna combine all of this technology together and we're gonna test fly it. Let's go. Let's open the boxes and see what's inside. Let's start from the goggles. Boom! First of all, of course, you get the goggles themselves. We're gonna take a look at them in a second. Accessory section, quick start guide, Walksnail cleaning cloth, and the power cable XT60 to barrel plug. Let's open the Avatar GT box. Boom! Quick start guide, the Avatar GT unit with a fan and the camera is included. Mounting screws and a 4-pin connector with the cable. And a bag with dual-sided adhesive pads. Lastly, let's open the GM Gimbal box. Quick start guide, the gimbal itself, and a bag with a lot of connectors inside, as you can see. Time to talk about specs. This is the GM Gimbal. Actually, it's the GM3 because there are 3 versions of this gimbal. GM1 only allows you to stabilize the pitch and is much smaller. GM2 has pitch and roll. And then there is the GM3 which has pitch, roll and yaw. So here you have a complete 3-axis gimbal which you can really look around. I wish they made another version like a GM4 with only pitch and yaw. And here you will find the size and weight difference for all the 3 models. The build is very light and solid, made of aluminum and plastic on the bottom. This case is plastic. And I love the fact that it comes with vibration dampener, so you don't have jello in your camera. It supports PWM if you want to manually control it, but also the beauty about it is it connects directly to your VTX, so you have head tracking built in natively. You don't need to set up anything. It's compatible with the Goggle Cell and with the Goggle X soon. Time to talk about the Walksnail GT. This VTX right here has 2 freaking watts of power. That means extra penetration and range. I can't wait to test it out. It's kind of a chunky boy, especially with this fan, and this is the dimension and weight. I like the fact that it comes with 20 by 20 mounting screw pattern on the bottom. It has an SD card on the side so you can record the DVR. It supports 180p, 100 frames per second, and it supports also gyroflow so you can stabilize your clips. It's not, of course, a video recording camera, but for some DVR you will have a better quality with SD on board. Time to talk about the goggles. First of all, as you can see, they are super small and light. Let's put them on. They are also comfy enough. They are a little bit narrow on the edges of my face, and on my face specifically I get some light leakage coming from my eyes. You cannot wear glasses with these goggles, but they smartly introduced these 2 holes which you can attach a diopter lens attachment you can purchase separately. On the bottom side you have the AO basically, which is the barrel plug for powering on your goggles, and this jack is used to output the PWM to your radio to control any gimbal with head tracking. There is also native head tracking built into it which connects to the Walksnail VTX and you don't need to use this plug. On the side you have a 5-direction joystick, a back button, record button and bind button you need to press into it. On the top and the other side you have ventilation holes. In the front you have 2 patch antennas under the plastic 4.9 dBi, and this is a super cool white LED strip. You can turn it off and on. Inside here you have a 4.5 inches LCD screen, 180p, but it appears much bigger thanks to the lenses. And if you pull the foam down, you have access to the SD card slot. It's finally time to test everything together. I built this contraption right here from an iFlight 2.5 inches. It seems like a good candidate because it's small. If I crash, no problem, and if I wanna follow some chicken, it's safe enough. So I can head track and follow them. That's my idea, at least. The gimbal has plenty of space to look around, and this is the Walksnail GT. I just discovered that they are not compatible together, which is a shame in my opinion. I thought this was a new product and it would be compatible with the newest gimbal, but it seems like the TX2 and RX2 ports are just a pass-through for this other TX2 and RX2 coming from the flight controller. It's a shame. Using it like that, it only stabilizes in FPV mode. I'm gonna fly first like this, with the gimbal just stabilizing the footage and testing and focusing on the 2 watts performance. Then I'm gonna fly another time, I'm gonna switch with the Moonlight camera and VTX, which is compatible with the eye tracking, because I'm super curious about testing that. Let's go. These tabs are actually for the SD card ejection. You need to attach it to the SD card because the card port is not spring-loaded. So if you don't attach the sticker, it's gonna get stuck inside. It's not the best design I ever seen, to be honest. And you have the pull tab to remove the SD card again. The drone is on and the gimbal is working. As you can see, it's just stabilizing a little bit, which is very nice because probably I will still be able to fly good and to understand what's happening on a FPV drone. Let's turn on the goggles. I really hate having the wire hanging loose. I wish they put the battery behind the head. And to use full 2 watts power, you need to unlock the goggles by putting a couple of files. I will put a link in the description so you have an easy time finding them. When you turn it on, it activates the full power. Okay, I am flying and it's kind of weird having the gimbal do stuff because I'm not used to it. Wow. So I have to go very, very slowly because there is a tiny bit of latency between the drone movement and the gimbal movement. Oh, wow, it's so weird. The battery is charged. I don't know if you can see the OSD. Oh my god, it's very weird flying like that. Oh my god. Yeah, with the gimbal stabilizing is not super easy. I'm gonna try flying behind here because it's usually a pain point for other VTXs. Maybe I need to put a bigger battery because I see the voltage dropping a lot. And yes, 2 watts and the front 2 patch antennas seems to work pretty nicely. I don't want to crash immediately. Let's fly behind here, which usually it's... And yeah, despite having 2 watts, I usually can fly with O3 1200 milliwatts back there. And with this, I crashed. So, okay, let's fly again. The drone had no issues after that tiny crash. Let's go up to the gate, which I have direct line of sight. Man, it seems like I'm flying drunk because the gimbal is stabilizing my movements. And it's very weird. If I don't go in a straight line, I mean, it's hard going to a straight line, but if I do some movements, the gimbal makes me feel a lot of latency. Oh my god, it's super hard. Okay, so I have line of sight to the gate, so it should be no problem, but I see the signal dropping a little bit. Okay, let's fly around here. I am testing it the same way I test every other VTX, so if you go look other videos, you see what the O3 is able to do. And I feel like 2 watts with Walksnail is performing slightly worse than O3, but much better than 1200 milliwatts. Still, of course, they probably should improve the protocol instead of cranking the power up. But yeah, in not critical condition, it's fine. I don't have line of sight behind here. I can't stress enough how hard it is to fly. Okay. Seems like it's not too bad. It just drops. Okay, we pushed it. Yeah, it's 5% worse than O3. O3, where I crashed before, has a really hard time, but it doesn't lose connection. This lost connection, so that's the test. The VTX speed mode, when you're not armed, is super weak. You need to be basically on top of the VTX. If you land one or couple of meters there or there when I take off, it's really critical signal and it freezes. I wish it was a little bit stronger because it's a pretty bad way of losing the drone. And boom, the Moonlight camera and VTX is on there, but it's not working. I spent hours behind it, and trust me, I tried everything, but it's not working. The wiring is correct. I also checked for continuity. There is a join here because I attached it before to the Walksnail GT RX and TX pads, but those are really small voltage, so they cannot really damage anything. I updated everything to the latest version, the VTX, the camera, the goggles, and I followed the Caddx own video now to connect this specific VTX to the goggle cell, but nothing. I cannot get it to work. I sent an email to Caddx and I hope they have some suggestions on what I can do, because I tried everything. The only thing I've not tried is updating the gimbal directly. Maybe it's an older version, and the update happens through this port, which is a 3-pin JST connector. And of course, this is not the original cable because they don't give you one in the box. And you don't only need the cable, but also a TTS adapter, which is a special dongle that connects to your computer. You install the Caddx GM software, and then you install the update. I don't have the connector, sadly, so I cannot really update it. I just wish they added a USB port, and it will be so much easier. Same goes for the Moonlight, because updating it is a little bit of a chore, which could be avoided with a little USB cable. I have to leave in a couple of days and I will be back mid-September, so I hope by then we have some new hardware, some new updates, or some suggestion to make it work, because I really wanted to chase some chicken with the head tracking today. Time for my final opinion about everything we saw today. Let's start with the Goggles L, which are sold at around 200 bucks. Crazy price point to enter digital. They are nice, compact, comfy enough, they don't strain too much. They are a tiny bit narrow. I wish they were a tiny bit wider. The screen feels very nice, it's wide, it's super clear, it doesn't strain your eyes, it's pleasing to use. If you need diopters, you can add them with the special attachment. So, screen-wise, pretty well done. The reception is pretty good with the 2-patch antennas inside, especially if you're flying in front of you, very nice. If you're flying around or at the back, it's gonna drop a little bit, and you cannot add antennas so far unless you really open it and go aftermarket on it. The I/O is incredibly minimal, you don't have it basically. I wish they had a power button next to the power plug, and this is only for outputting the head tracking. I wish it had HDMI, I wish it had AV in, but of course it's cheap and they are saving money where they can to lower the price point, which they lowered. The menu buttons are very intuitive and well made. They feel the same as the Goggle X, as well as the menu, which is fine but could be refined a little bit, because I don't find it super straightforward to use. And these are the only Walksnail goggles so far that support head tracking natively. The Goggle X are gonna receive a hardware update very soon, because they, I guess, realized the gyro inside them, it doesn't work with head tracking, so they had to redesign the components. Probably they will ship it for free, but let's see what happens. But so far, if you want native head tracking, you have to get these goggles. Be careful, because I feel like everything is still very much in beta. I feel like in the end, for this price, these goggles are a good buy if you are on a budget, or maybe if you want to dip your feet into the Walksnail ecosystem, they are good. Maybe you have those small VTXs on tiny whoops. Well, this could be a very good way of trying that out. Let's talk about the Walksnail GT VTX. This is your best shot at going long range with the Walksnail ecosystem. 2 watts of power. In my testing, it worked much better than 1200 watts of the Moonlight VTX. I could go almost as far penetration-wise as O3, maybe like 3% worse, 5% worse, but it's pretty much up there. And I feel like maybe with some software updates, this VTX can go as far or maybe further than O3. I only tested the penetration capability. Maybe if you are in direct line of sight, you can go much further than O3, but I have no way of testing it now. Having 2 watts of power comes with a few downsides that I found. First of all, it's bigger, it's taller, and it has this fan that needs to kick in order to cool it down. When you are in low power mode and the drone is not armed, it doesn't use these 2 antennas, but it uses a couple of integrated antennas, which have super crappy range. You have 1-2 meters and you lose the range. It's crazy. Shout out to Tech for going deep dive into everything basically. Watch his videos, they are super deep dive. I guess you don't have compatibility with Walksnail accessories like the gimbal, because the 5V and ground is occupied by the fan, and the TXRX is the same, is a pass-through of this one, which is the one connected to the flight controller. Lastly, the electronic components inside are so packed that you don't have space for a full SD card reader, and you have to resort to this sticker on the SD card. I guess they could have had the SD card sticking a little bit outside, and it will resolve much of the issues, because I am not using the SD card like this. I feel like if you are sold on Walksnail and you don't care about everything missing, you just want to go long range, this is still a good buy. And lastly, let's talk about the GM Gimbal. I like the idea of this very much, because the market is popping up with a lot of gimbals that are PWM controlled. They are fine, they can support different cameras, but this is the only one that's native. So it connects directly to your goggles, you don't need to set up anything on your radio and on your stuff, and it supports head tracking without the need of an external module, which is another wire that goes into your radio, another bit of setup. This is native. But still, if you need PWM, no problem, you can use it. So, very nice. I really like the way they built it. It's light and soft mounted. Talking about downsides, I feel like this ecosystem is not still super ripe. It needs a little bit of refinement, because okay, the Walksnail GT is not compatible, but the Moonlight is. They even made a video about it. I was not able to make it work. Maybe it's my fault, or maybe, I guess, the gimbal is not updated. And that's an issue, because I was not provided the cable to update it. And it's a special cable, I need to buy an external adapter and try updating it. I just wish they added a USB cable, so it was much easier to do that. So if you want to use this gimbal with the Walksnail ecosystem, really make sure the stuff works, and maybe wait a little bit, follow Walksnail on social and see what other people are doing, because we are still at the beginning of this ecosystem and it needs a little bit of refinement. I like this possibility of looking around a lot, and I wish they had good recording cameras. The Moonlight is decent, is fine, but it's not perfect. It needs log profile, it needs higher megabit. It doesn't look that incredible when you compare it to O3, for example, or O4, by that matter. I guess we still need a little bit of refinement, and then this system will be incredible. Caddx can do it, because, I mean, just look at the Caddx Vista, that was a miracle back then. I feel like they are focusing on so many products, it's a small team, and it's taking time for them to really refine these products. I wish them the best, because I want to see them become a really strong competitor for DJI, but we need a little bit of refinement, I feel like. And that's all for today. I'm gonna make an updated video in about a month to see where we are with this system, because I really want to follow the chickens. Remember to like, subscribe and comment on this video. Let me know what you think about this gear and about my opinions. And as always, if you wanna buy something, check out the links in the description below. You help this channel a lot, and many times you will find discounts. Stay safe and happy flying. Bye!